Hello there guys, and welcome back to the most devastatingly awful season of Alliance Wars New Nation in a long while. And this is going to be a 2 wars in 1 kind of coverage, mainly because my recording failed in the second war. I didn't have too many fights to begin with, but I only managed to record the final one, which I still think is worth showing, so I'm going to include it together with this one. So this is War 5 against Swedish Alliance. And we haven't been doing great, and we actually had a very big problem in this war to begin with. We basically entered it with 29 people. We just had somebody who effectively overslept and didn't place his defense, and I don't want to go into it, but yeah, it was just feeling quite crap, especially after the awful season that we have had so far, and it's not great. I also do have some very interesting matchups, which you guys are definitely going to see and enjoy. So we're going obviously up against Swedish Alliance, who is a very good and strong alliance. They have had some strong clears as well. And the problem is, well, we really haven't. We haven't been playing that well at all. And being a man down, 5 diversity down, kind of sucks. Okay, so we have Overseer, Magneto House of X, and Rintra for this war, and it's not going to start great. I do have Magneto House of X, which is kind of pretty much useless for me, because I was assigned 2 of his 3 pre-fights for Overseer, and he's not a hero, he's not Metal Champion, so I do not get my passive stun. Something that I noticed in this fight, but it is definitely going to come in play much more importantly in the next fight. Well, not next fight, but later on in the war. So here, that passive stun was super important because of the back at it node where he goes debuff immune whenever he's knocked down. I do need to knock him down because of ebb and flow knockdown. But obviously here I notice I can't parry and I get clapped immediately, and I'm like, oh right, this is not going to work. So it is something that I overlooked, as well as our officers, obviously. And it's just one of those things when you do new matchups and try new things, you know, you can't always keep everything in mind. The reason why I'm using Overseer to begin with is because he's sick and tired attacker. Now here I made a very bad mistake and I whiffed a heavy attack thinking it will connect. And he's throwing his specials here like a boss. And I messed up. I needed to get to level 2 here, so I can actually get rid of his unstoppable, but well, that's another way to get to level 2, and I get clapped there. But at the very least now I have entered the cosmic damage mode. I built him up not too much, but obviously Mango completely refusing to throw his special attack, and I'm very worried at this point in this fight because I basically wasted all my ramp up so far because I can't get in any meaningful amount of damage, especially with that protection being back up there. And I need to kind of start this whole thing all over again, but I have lost 1/3 of my health. I'm still winning the health battle, but it definitely hasn't gone according to the plan. And the main thing here is just stay calm, not to do anything stupid, and just try and get your ramp up in again, and close out the fight the best I can. So now again, I'm pushing him to level 2s because I do not want to get completely cornered. Here, I do parry that, most of it, but, you know, obviously, at this point, I have lost half of my health against this stupid Mangog. I do drop him in order to get the Ebb and Flow Knockdown Fury, and then I go for a level 2 of my own with 4 Gamma Charges, which is not the full ramp-up, but should hopefully be good enough to finish out this fight. And I did finish it up okay, but, yeah, it definitely didn't go according to the plan. Now, next fight is up against Immortal Abomination, and this is going to be significantly easier because obviously my ramp up is going to be much easier and quicker and shorter, and I do not have to deal with debuff immunity either. So the entire point here is I don't care whether he throws his level 1s or level 2s. In fact, I do care. I do want him to throw his level 2s so he gets rid of his own poisons, because with his poisons, Immortal Abomination also improves his physical resistance, and that reduces Overseer's damage quite drastically. So throughout this entire fight, I do want to do my best to prevent him from throwing level 1, which is exactly what he did right now, but we'll be okay. We'll survive this. We are fine. the main thing is I can't obviously bait out and punish heavies here because of the heavy hitter node, but obviously I-bomb here is going down sufficiently well. He's down at 16%, I'm still at 96%. This fight's much easier, and Overseer is going to ramp right back up in no time if I needed, but I didn't even need that because we just finished the fight off level 2. Now this fight is going to be the problem, and I knew it's going to be a problem. I noticed the fact that Overseer's passive stun is not going to work, but I also took a look around and I realized that I still have to get this fight done. And I figured, in between having access to town, because there's another problem, because I'm going to consistently be triggering Conflictor every time Mo throws a special attack. This is a hard fight at the best of times. It's definitely doable with Overseer, thanks to sick and tired defensive tactic, but the point is, we have Conflictor and we have Hazard Shift, Shock and Poison. And Overseer is not immune to any of that stuff. I do have an Odin pre-fight here for me to mitigate shock damage, but in between everything else that's going to be happening in the fight, it's not like the most important thing. And the entire kind of problem here is obviously I really need to do my best to work with sick and tired charges, and then on top of it all, I can't play around Conflictor at all, because every time he throws special attack, he's going to be gaining power. Every time I'm going to be trying to parry him, he's going to be trying to gain power. So this is going to be a rough fight. I'm still going to activate that pre-fight because it does give you like extra attack. I'm going to go for Power Stat 1 because my hope here was to rely on my level 2 and power backs and hopefully do some meaningful amount of damage because Ebony Maw doesn't have that much health. And here I realized that I'm doing okay damages by punishing his heavy attack with like a single hit, because that also lets me get a cleanse charge. And this plan seemed to be doing pretty well so far. I figured this could be the way to victory, because I can also cleanse down his Purify. But here's the problem. I'm in a corner, he's at 2 bars of power. He's not throwing it. If he connects that heavy attack, I take degen. Right? And this is one of the most annoying ones. I was starting this out fine, but I just need him to use at level 2. He does everything except. This point, heavy attack, I take the degen. He's close to 3 bars of power. And I did decide to just try and go for it, but my level 2 did virtually no damage. Drops his level 3, thinking I can survive it. Another mistake was I should have grabbed an indestructible boost instead, because I think with that I still would have been able to mitigate this damage instead of my Power Stat 1 boost, because that Power Stat 1 boost, I forgot, against Ebony Maw doesn't do too much to begin with. So I should have used the Indestructible 3 boost, so I would have had more health. And here again, we're gonna have the same problem where this Ebony Maw just doesn't want to throw his special, so I'm just trying to nuke him down at this point, but my stun gets eaten by Conflictor, and I'm dead. And that is my first and only death so far of this season, but I do get whacked. Again, I obviously could have tried to play it better. AI didn't, do me any favors either by not activating specials, and, this is what happens. But him being at 35%, I'm confident I can finish this fight out without too much trouble. And I'm actually gonna do significantly better in this fight. Again, the same strategy kind of before, except that I realized the one big mistake that I did is I should have been hitting his block as well to make sure I do not get cornered. Here he throws his level 1, which is perfectly fine, and I just smack him. I liked the approach that I used previously, just to trigger that burst damage as often as possible, baiting out his heavy attacks. But yes, I should have been hitting his block to make sure he gets to his corner first, and then started doing all of that other stuff. So I do not get cornered, and I have a better chance of getting out at level 2. Now, obviously, still, if AI was even a little bit more cooperative, I would have been fine in the next match. But it's just one of those things. It was completely new fight. And talked about it later with our officers. There is a better matchup for that fight, which we will test probably in near future. But now I need to finish things up with Rintra, going up against Hyperion. Obviously, this is a kind of chill, relatively stress-free fight. My biggest problem is that I might be gaining too much power, but my level 2 crit, and the fight's pretty much over. So I have done this fight before. It can get a bit annoying because, yeah, you can't ramp up your level 2s because you just gain too much power. But, you know, we're fine. We're fine. And now I will need to deal with that Gallon as well. And here I will have a couple of Odin's pre-fights. I do need reboost for this one, unfortunately, but it's fine. Not the biggest problem. And Rintra against Gallon is kind of fairly straightforward fight. I was kind of fairly pissed off at having that death in this war, especially because of the way the war was going. And, you know, I wasn't a happy bunny throughout this fight, but obviously I do not want to let my team down even more. And basically I just want to finish this fight kind of as steadily as possible. So build up Raptures against Gallon. And I'm not even going to bother with my level 2s in this fight. I'm just going to let the Raptures do the work here. He can throw his specials how he wants, when he wants. I'm neutralizing his buff gain. Doesn't really stop me. And at this point, there's another technical issue I remember. I received a phone call from my better half. So unfortunately, the recording stopped here. So I had to quickly basically respond to it, get back in it. But I did not die here. So that's the important thing. And we ended up actually winning this war badly, but we did. Because we won, I believe, 5-2. Which was just about enough to offset that difference. So I was one of the only 2 deaths in my team. But our opposing team basically had 3 more deaths. I think it was 5-2 or 6-3. And that is just barely enough points to offset the -5 diversity. So we somehow, against all odds, managed to win this war and, you know, get our season slightly bit on track because we have had a terrible start so far. And then we have the next war against XK9, where I did not have too many fights. I do have Scorpion, Nick Fury, and Venom. Venom is just there for the Scorpion synergy because, obviously, getting those Furies improve Scorpion's damage output quite significantly. And XK9 did a great job clearing majority of our map very early, and we had basically no room for error. The time was razor sharp too. It was anybody's game, and the base point was we had to clear about 40 or 50 nodes without dying, because if we die, it would be tie, and again, the time was effectively equal on both sides. And my final fight, I had Quicksilver with Nick Fury, where I just kind of went crazy with Nick Fury to nuke down that Quicksilver. And I also had a man thing with Scorpion in section 1, which again, Scorpion just did Scorpion things. I switched to Rapture, I believe, and then he's poison immune. And yeah, man thing went down just fine. So now I'm deciding which pre-fight to go with against Mangog. I'm going to go with Raptures here. There's no particular reason for it, other than the fact that he can go shock immune. And I could have still used poisons as well, but we just went with the Raptures. I do have a couple of Miss Fantastic pre-fights. Now, this is the famous dangerous Mangog, because this is the aspect of evolution, improved power gain, level 2 bias, and all that other stuff. And the key to this fight is to make sure that effectively you have taunt always on opponent. And then even if he does get to his level 2, that means nothing. Now, for whatever reason, because of the taunt, he's very happy to throw his level 1s, which is awesome, which means I don't really have to deal with that level 2 to begin with, but it also lets him ramp up quickly. So here, there was the one kind of like critical point of this fight where I needed to save up my power, just to make sure I can disable that unstoppable, because otherwise the fight could be in danger. But at this point, you know, Scorpion does Scorpion things, and that Mangog, as soon as his special attack is dead, so I didn't even really need to take any level 2s in the block to begin with Scorpion because of the taunt. But obviously that mechanic is super important. And yeah, that was like 1 minute 38 hits. Not bad at all. This is the first time I have ever done this fight in particular, I believe, as well. And the fight against XK9, we did end up winning 6-5 and barely on time. As you can see that there's like less than 100-second difference. That's quite literally like a length of one fight in most cases. And yeah, another very close win this time. This gave us a little bit of PTSD situation as well, because everybody remembers how we won the first war, but Kabam basically told us that we didn't because of the time breaker bug thing. So we really wanted to make sure that we clear this as clean as possible. And we did, and that's awesome. So it means that at the very least now we have got a couple of wins in a row behind us, and we are back in Masters, because so far we have been pretty much the entire season in Platinum 1, which obviously is a steep drop from the previous season where we ended up finishing in the 2nd place in the world. So this season definitely has been very rough for New Nation, but you know, hopefully we can salvage it the best we can, make it somewhere to the top 10 Masters, and then see where we're at. All that being said, hope you guys have been... wait, are we in Masters now? I think we are in Masters now. Anyways, I hope you guys have been enjoying the war videos. I'm not entirely sure if I will keep uploading them throughout the season, because they typically do not end up being particularly popular. I know that there are some people who really want them to come up, so it is quite likely that I'll typically combine 2 to 3 war videos more, rather than upload each individually going forward. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about